What's up, guys? Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood, and today we're here to celebrate the weekend of Anime Expo, which is this weekend, okay? And we're here to talk about why we love anime so much and why it's awesome. So, I would have to say my first experience with anime, I'm cheating a little bit here, is with Voltron and Robotech. Animated series in the 80s, and it is real anime, but the only reason I'm saying I'm cheating a little is because I didn't see the real full uncut versions of both series, because they trimmed it down and edited it and made it for kids and for us American kids growing up.
He's not dead, he's cyber sleeping.
Yes.
Space sleeping.
Yeah, that was one of the dialogue that was in Voltron. You know, a character actually really died in the real version, but we can't let the kiddies cry over here, so he's in laser sleep. That's what it was. He's laser sleeping, yes.
Oh, I completely got that wrong.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's my first experience. And then, time to date myself here, when I used to rent videos at Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference! I came across and I was like, what is this cool looking cartoon? Before I even knew it was anime, Japanese animation.
Japanimation?
Yes. I used to rent videos, and the first movie I rented was Akira. And
that's a hell of a first
movie. And
wow.
I was young and I don't know what the heck was going on in that movie. Watching it now I know what's going on, but
well,
kind of. It's hard. It's a little bit of a hard watch.
It's as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, but the animation was breathtaking. Okay. And the animation in that movie still holds up today after all those years. It's still just a beautiful looking movie and a very influential movie. And then after that, other titles I started to rank, like The Professional Go-Go 13, Vampire Hunter D. And then when I came across something called Ninja Scroll, it's really badass martial arts samurai flick. I was hooked.
It's okay.
The audience today may look at it and be like, what's the big deal? Before its time, I still love it. It's still a really cool kick-ass samurai film. But after that, I was hooked. And then I didn't really get into anime until a little bit later, my late teens, when Cartoon Network had a show called Toonami. And that's when they started to show us Cowboy Bebop and Dragon Ball Z. And I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. That's about it with that. What about you?
Well, I knew about Voltron when I was little. My cousin had the metal toys, back when toys were metal! Metal! Or metal! We used to hurt ourselves and we freaking loved it! We loved it, alright? So yeah, I knew about Voltron. I don't recall ever actually sitting down and watching any episodes of Voltron that I can actually remember. I remember watching Thundercats and Transformers more, which were both somewhat inspired by anime. Wasn't the intro done by a studio in Japan for Thundercats?
Yes, that's why the animation. Look at the animation in the intro for Thundercats, and then compare it to the actual show. Very different. You can see the difference right there.
So I was aware of the anime craze only through the form of mainstream, which at the time was Pokemon. Pokemon was really big, and I was obviously too old to be like watching Pokemon all the time, but because I knew it was such a big deal, I'm like, what the hell is Pokemon? So I watched a few episodes and it was alright. And then all of a sudden, all the channels, when there were only, like 8 of them, they were all scrambling to get the next big thing in anime, and they were all scrambling. They were pulling all these shows from Japan that were suitable for American children and some that weren't so suitable. And so I was aware of Pokemon and Digimon, and there were a couple of other series here and there, but the one that really was my official gateway anime was a series called Escaflowne, which also was horrifically bastardized, come to find out. I remember when I actually started buying the Bandai DVDs, which were the unedited versions, which came with the English and Japanese languages. And I remember very vividly the opening of the Fox Kids version of Escaflowne, and then watching the anime version, not knowing how every single show has a singing song at the opening and mostly at the end. They almost all of them have like these J-pop. You can't really call all of them J-pop, but every show has an opening and a closing credits, and they sing. And you know, I was like, what the hell is this? But by the second episode, I was like, this is cool. I like these songs. So the soundtrack was amazing. The soundtrack is amazing, and the series just. Even though I watched the completely edited, bastardized version, the show got so mature that Fox Kids had to pull it, I want to say, after the 8th episode. And here I am like a schmuck watching it every single Saturday going, where the hell did Escaflowne go? And this was back when the internet was kind of in its early infancy. For those of us that didn't have a lot of computer access, you had to pay monthly for your internet subscriptions, and so you couldn't get online a whole lot because if you exceeded your time, you'd have to pay more. And I didn't have a job yet, so I couldn't pay for any of that nonsense, but I would sneak online every once in a while if I was at somebody's house and they had unlimited, like they had paid more for the unlimited. I'd be like reading all up on Escaflowne, like, what is this show? Amazon.com was in its infancy, and I started reading up on all these discs that were coming out on DVD, and I don't even know if I had a DVD player yet. I think I eventually got one for Christmas soon after that, but it went from a mild interest to a complete obsession. And after I finished Escaflowne finally, it was a downward spiral into madness.
Yeah, once you get into anime and you find a show you really like or a movie that you really like, you get hooked. And unfortunately, the only reason she says downward spiral is because
it's expensive as hell!
It's not just that.
Oh, they gouged us. Oh, we were such schmucks in the early 2000s, and they knew it. Oh, they knew we would pay. They were putting 2 to 3 episodes on one $25 to $35 disc, depending on where you went. In Suncoast, I remember what you jerks did to us back in the day.
You remember Suncoast?
You guys, it was a price gouger's paradise. Anime back then. They knew that we were fanatics. They knew we were freaks. They knew we would pay, and by golly, we did. And if we didn't, we'd be sneaking some of them bootleg imports, you know. But it was a disaster. Escaflowne, just to go back to that, 26 episode series spread out onto 8 discs.
Yeah, I think Trigun was what, 2 episodes a disc? Was that the one other, or like a 3?
The average was 3 to 4.
Okay, that's just horrible. 3 to 4 episodes, folks, for $30 a pop. But that's just
depending on where you went. But yeah,
that's just how it was back then.
It was rough. It was brutal back then. And even now, when a show is really popular, they will still gouge you a little bit. But if you give it a few months, they will come out with cheaper box sets. And I'm cheap as hell, so I always have to opt in for those. I don't really mind.
You're smart.
I'm okay.
So going back to saying about the downward spiral, what you meant was not just because of the prices like we're talking about, but it's because there's 5 billion different types of anime series and movies out there, so it's impossible to watch everything. It's impossible to watch everything and complete everything because there's just so much. But
unless you have no life.
Unless you have no life, but. With that, though, that being so much out there, you have a lot of variety.
You have just as many. You have just as much variety as any other form of entertainment, any other form of film, TV series. Anime has everything to match what we have here in television and films. I personally feel I'm still to this day. I want to say 13, 14 years later, after discovering anime, there's still just something about it. You know, I can't watch everything. We have a subscription to Crunchyroll, which is helpful, but you know, I'm very picky. I'm picky in everything. I'm picky in my music, I'm picky in my movies and my TV series, and anime I'm the same way. Now I have my guilty pleasures, that I'm really ashamed to even be a fan of, but I bought them on Blu-ray anyway.
Oh, we all have our guilty pleasures.
But there are some series out there, and the thing with anime is that it opens up possibilities. You know, we have cartoons here. They are cartoons. we have almost never, with the exception of maybe heavy metal, some of the films in the 80s that were more geared towards adults. Animation is not for adults here. You have your Pixars and you have some of your 90s Disney movies that were family entertainment. So yeah, adults can enjoy them. I still own some Disney Blu-rays. We own several Pixar films. But the thing with anime is it's just a different culture over there. Censorship is very, very different than ours. Even their children are raised differently and are exposed to things that might make them a little bit more mature and able to handle more mature themes than American children are. And so you get very odd concepts in anime, but that's the beauty of it. You get to see things that you can't see in a lot of media out there. And the great thing about anime also is that the sky's the limit. The imagination, you can do whatever you want, and you get some really interesting ideas sometimes. Sometimes you'll get something very special, and it's like any other form of entertainment. Of course, you have your fantastic, your classic masterpieces, you have your good, you have your solid, and then you have your absolute garbage. And we have seen them all. I was very lucky. After Escaflowne and I started fishing around for all these other anime out there, I actually blind bought Ninja Scroll and Ghost in the Shell before any other film. And so those were my first two animated features, and then unfortunately I moved on to Perfect Blue and a little turd we all like to call Sword for Truth.
Oh, Sword for Truth is bad. Stay away from Sword for Truth.
No Sword for Truth.
But
no.
But like any other medium, there's ratings. Okay, so parents out there, if you want to start buying anime for your kids,
don't.
Just read the rating, okay?
Stick with Pokemon.
Yeah, read the rating. Everything's rated now, okay? Pokemon, you have your anime for kids. You get Pokemon and Digimon, okay? And then there's anime for teen level, and then there's anime for adults, okay? So remember, just read the rating, okay? And give that example. Tell us about when this mother came back furious in Walmart. She was losing her mind because she bought this cartoon movie for her son. And she came in there. Wasn't she like, why are you guys selling violent porn cartoons?
So, okay, first of all, I don't even know if it was proper anime. It was Lady Death. Now, keep in mind, the cover of Lady Death featured a demon woman with a huge set of lovely melons in a skimpy ass outfit with, looking like a demon. And this genius goes and buys this for her son. Now, ignoring the rating, okay, ignore the clear rating that's on the packaging. Why would you buy a DVD with a cover of a scantily clad demon lady for your child? Genius! Your right to breeding is revoked! I could just imagine some genius buying Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
Because I heard Lady Death sucked.
Yeah, and it's not even real anime. If that was using that as an example.
If that was American animation, it was mild. I can guarantee you it was mild. Yeah. But Ninja Scroll.
Oh no, this takes it to another level.
Woo, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that situation.
And just like any other medium out there, there's different genres of anime. Okay, there's fantasy anime, there's action anime, martial arts, horror, drama, science fiction, everything you can think of. An anime that has all of those genres in one.
If you see something called hentai, unless you're into that sort of thing. Some of us. No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
For those of you who have always thought about dabbling into anime, it takes time to find an anime that works for you. If you have any remote interest in it, though, explore. There are lots of review sites out there now that we didn't have access to when anime first came out. Hence, a lot of blind buying went on. A lot of shit was bought. A lot of shit was sold, never to be seen again. Always read spoiler-free synopsis whenever you can. But always keep in mind that a lot of people that make reviews can be a bit biased. But you gotta pick and choose. I do recommend something like a subscription to Crunchyroll or even Netflix and Hulu. They have a lot of good options out there. And you might not necessarily, you might find something in a genre you never even expected. And the really important thing is when you finally do pick a show that you might think is interesting to you, give it a chance. Try to finish it off to the end. I recommend starting off with a 12 to 13 episode series if possible, or 26 episode is a pretty respectable amount of episodes to be able to tell a really good story. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but again, when I was really early on watching anime and buying anime, there was no Hulu, there was no Netflix back when I first started watching this, and I didn't have Toonami. And so I first started kind of trying to shoot off into other series after I had gotten my film fixes. It's like, no, I want more shows. Escaflowne was such a fantastic series for me that I wanted another show. The movies were great, but I needed another series. And I kept reading up on these two series in particular, Cowboy Bebop and Serial Experiments Lane. Well, I ended up not being able to decide, and this was a time before full series box sets came out. There was a lot of volume releases. You had to wait sometimes a month, 2 months between volume releases. Assholes! And so I had to make a decision between Bebop and Lane. Well, I didn't, I had my job at the time. I didn't get a lot of money, so, well, how about I just try to buy a volume of the first volume of Bebop and the first volume of Lane. Okay, great. Start off on Bebop. I believe there was 5 episodes on that first disc, and I am ashamed to admit I didn't get it. I'd heard so much hype about this series, and I just wasn't, there was nothing wrong with the show, but it just I didn't understand where it was going. It seemed like there was a lot of meandering about, not really going anywhere. You gotta remember, Escaflowne is 26 episodes of a story arc. There is, from episode 1 to episode 26, a continuing story that goes through each and every episode. Each episode flows into the next episode. It's destination A, B, C, all the way through Z. And Bebop was not like that. And so I ended up switching over to Lane and decided to finish off Lane. And there was nothing wrong with that. I still like Serial Experiments Lane. But I chose Lane to finish first over Bebop, also because there was 4 volumes of Lane as opposed to 6 volumes of Bebop. So I finished Lane, really enjoyed it, decided to go give Bebop another chance. Let's give Bebop a chance! Yeah. And I was wrong. I was wrong to doubt Bebop, and by the time I got to the second disc, the second volume, I was finally starting to get it. I was getting the humor. I was getting the storytelling. I was getting... looking back on it now, I just watched the series when it was released on Blu-ray again. And looking back at the show now, I understand exactly why I didn't get it at first. Like I said, I didn't know where it was going. And now I look at it and it's like, this show is freaking amazing. There are 5 episodes in Bebop that are part of one long story. And the rest of the series is nothing but character development, telling each and every character's story as it goes. And it's just sit there and see, wow, this series defied a genre by creating several genres and throwing it all in together, and it somehow worked. It was a miracle that this series worked. And the series will forever, I feel forever, will stand the test of time. And yeah, I'm a fangirl. Shut up!
Hey, we're both fans, all right? Got Spike Spiegel back there, man. So remember, don't get discouraged, okay? When you first watch a TV series and you're not feeling it at first, finish it out. Give it a chance. You may end up coming across one of the best things you've ever seen. Another thing that's great about anime is that how influential it has been over the years, many years. Look at The Matrix. All right, the Wachowski brothers, The Matrix would not be in existence if it wasn't for anime. And they even say that in the commentary, that they were just so influenced by the anime. Unfortunately, with the Matrix sequels and everything else the Wachowski brothers are doing now, they're not taking the good parts of anime.
I love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
Jupiter Ascending. People don't know. Actual dialogue from Jupiter Ascending. Okay. So anyway, but very influential. James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, they're all been influenced by anime.
For better or for worse,
yes,
damn it.
Yes. And unfortunately over here in America, we have not done a great job of doing live action versions of our anime series like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball didn't happen. That didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of that movie. And Speed Racer. Just doing horrible versions of those classic animes. But
I can't wait for that Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yeah, they're doing Ghost in the Shell, starring Scarlett Johansson. She's gonna be the lead in that, the lead character. So
Scarlett Kusanagi.
Let's keep fingers crossed. Now let's talk about the gateway anime. Okay. This is one of the most popular anime series in years. This is so popular that you see posters for this, an animated Japanese show, in Walmart. Okay, this is so popular, all right? You're seeing it all over the place in FYE and music stores, and it's so popular they're not even done with the show. They only have one season, but they're already making a live-action movie in Japan, not over here. Already!
Ah!
Already, you're making a live-action film, and the show's not even done yet. And the name of the show is Attack on Titan, okay? Visually, amazing show. Just, it blew us away watching this show. I mean, hopefully the rest of the show ends well. Hopefully it doesn't suck.
I just remembered our reaction to the big moment in the first episode.
Oh, yeah.
With the mom.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I immediately was like, welcome to anime, folks!
Yeah. So we have some recommendations that we're going to throw up at the end of this video for you newbies out there that are curious about anime and want to get into it. But if you don't even want to bother with that list, just watch Attack on Titan. Go to Netflix, watch Attack on Titan, and you'll be hooked.
Listen. There is such little chance that you won't find something interesting in Attack on Titan, but I beg you, I know somebody already that has never seen a proper anime series in his entire life, as far as I can tell, as far as he's told me. And Attack on Titan was his first show, and he is spoiled. And you gotta remember, it is a fantastic series visually, even from a storytelling point of view. It's not just eye candy. Mm-hmm. There are compelling characters. There's a compelling story going on in there. There's so much interest going on that we still haven't even answered, which we're so looking forward to the second series. But the problem with this series, as an anime fan and as somebody who would love to get other people into anime, it sets that bar too damn high. And if you just jump in, just not even looking, you might never be able to see another show after that. And it would be a damn shame, because it's just one of many fantastic and innovative series. The shots that this series has are akin to 3D without there being 3D. The aerials, just, if you ever saw it, you completely understand. But it's amazing all the way around. But not every anime is like this.
Right.
It just keep that in mind, please.
Very visually impressive. And speaking of visually impressive, that was another thing that we love about anime. Anime's animation, okay, can be average to mind-blowing, but even the average is still better than what we have over here in America. And I'll give you a perfect example. One of the greatest American animated TV shows of all time is Batman the Animated Series. One of the greatest shows ever made, okay? Still influential to this day. That came out in the early 90s. If you compare it to the animation that they have now, that the DC Studios is doing now, the most recent one is, I believe, is these shorts from Justice League, Gods and Monsters. If you compare from 1992 till now, there really isn't any improvement in the animation, guys.
You know
Nothing.
What?
It still looks generic. The stories may be great. It may be awesome, but the animation style is so generic, and that's what's great about anime. It's not just because the animation's better than what we have here, but anime is willing to take risks.
It's an art form.
Yes.
over there. It's a business, but it's an absolute passion-filled art form. You had your amazing hand-drawn animation back in the day, and that was the thing about the first 3 seasons of Batman the Animated Series. It was all hand-drawn. It was shadowy, gritty. It was absolutely gorgeous to look at. And then that last season, they started. I think they got with another. I think they started outsourcing. They might have already been outsourcing their anime, but the animation style clearly changed, and it was a lot uglier. It was clean. It was bright. It was looking like Superman. And then after that, all of the American animation styles just never really evolved. Anime is constantly evolving, and a really good example of that is how much it evolved from the 80s into the 90s and the late 90s, and then all of a sudden there was this really awkward transition into computer drawn animation. And I always felt that the early stages of the computer drawn animation from about, I don't know, maybe 2001 to 2005, 2006 was very unappealing. There were a lot
new
of
technology.
There were a lot of series that you look at it now and it's so clean, it's so bright, it's so just, it doesn't look, it does just not have the same feeling as hand-drawn animation. And I feel now, after maybe 10 years, computer-drawn animation has finally caught up with how beautiful hand-drawn animation used to be.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan, another series it's very bizarre. I found it immensely entertaining. Was Rage of Bahamut, and a little nonsensical, just a little bit. It was based off was it even a card game, or was it like a weird online?
Yeah.
Whatever the case was, they managed to make it very entertaining, but the animation was simply breathtaking. And we're really lucky. We've gotten to witness a lot of evolution in anime, but that's the point, is that it evolves.
It evolves.
They give a shit about what their stuff looks like.
It's an event over there in Japan. It's an event. Okay, over here, the new Toy Story movie's coming out, and we love Toy Story. But the new Pixar film's coming out. Oh, maybe it's good. Oh, it's okay. That's kind of how it is here. We have movies like Turbo, The Nut Job.
But these are all computer drawn.
Yeah.
These are
But I'm talking about an event, like making a big deal. And the new Toy Story movie's coming out or whatever, Pixar, then it's kind of an event. But over there, their animated movies over there, it's an event. And the perfect example is when a classic fantasy film, Spirited Away, was released in Japan. It beat the Titanic in Japan. That's how serious they are about their animation. You see the difference? Movies beating Titanic? The Nut Job, okay? All right, so we just highly recommend you guys, take risks yourselves. Give it a shot. Give it a try.
Go fishing. Just
explore.
Yeah.
Something you may come across and be like, that was crap. You may come across something else and like, that was amazing, okay? But go explore, all right? Check anime out. Anime is amazing, and we will probably be anime fans till...
with our collection, we have to be for the rest of our lives.
All right, so we got some goofy photos of me at previous anime expos for you guys to enjoy, taking pictures with all these other cosplayers and passionate fans dressing up as the characters and stuff like that. So we're going to show that at the end of the video.
Y'all better not disappoint me either. I better see a whole bunch of freaky-ass cosplayers this Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I haven't been to an anime expo in probably 11, 12 years. This better be good. I want to be entertained.
Oh, I'm sure we will be.
Man-Fae!
No more Man-Fae, okay? So, that's it for today, and talking about why we love anime so much.
Because we're raging nerds, alright?
You don't have to be a nerd to like anime, okay? But we'll see you guys again soon, and we may see you this Friday at Anime Expo. See you then.